about getting educated. We get talking about getting educated about our credit score, doing the work. So what I'm going to do is I wrote my little outline, and I had my AI to read it. So I'm going to have my AI to read the information that I was able to pull up, as well as share some life experience, which will help you not be lazy, but educate yourself on how to fix your credit. You have nothing to be ashamed of, right? Don't let anybody tell you by the time you reach a certain age, your credit score or your credit outline should be thus and so. You don't know, okay? So when you know, you know. So today, we want to make sure that you know. All right, listen to my notes that I created for this podcast through my AI.
Quickly requires a focused strategy. Here are several steps that can help boost your score in a relatively short period. Tier 1, check your credit report for errors. Obtain a free copy of your credit report from sites like annualcreditreport.com. Look for inaccuracies such as incorrect accounts, late payments that shouldn't be there, or incorrect balances. Dispute any errors you find, as they can negatively impact your score. 2, pay down credit card balances. Lower your credit utilization ratio by paying off credit card debt. Ideally, aim to keep your credit utilization below 30% and under 10% for optimal results. If you can, focus on paying down high balances to free up available credit. 3, increase credit limits. Contact your credit card issuers and request a credit limit increase. Make sure not to use the increased limit. This reduces your credit utilization ratio and can boost your score. Cash 4, make payments on time. Payment history accounts for a large portion of your credit score. Ensure that you're making all payments on time. Set up automatic payments or reminders to avoid missing due dates. 5, become an authorized user. Ask a family member or friend with good credit to add you as an authorized user on their credit card. This can help raise your score by piggybacking on their positive payment history. Tab 6, pay off small balances. Pay off any small balances that you have spread across multiple cards. Keeping a balance on multiple cards can hurt your score, even if they are small amounts. 7, use a personal loan to consolidate debt. If you have high-interest credit card debt, consider taking out a personal loan to consolidate the balances into one payment. This can improve your credit utilization and reduce the number of accounts carrying a balance. Tab 8, keep old accounts open. The length of your credit history affects your score. Avoid closing old accounts, as this can shorten the average age of your accounts and lower your score. 9, address collection accounts. If you have any collection accounts, pay them off, or negotiate with the creditor to have them removed from your credit report once the debt is settled. By consistently applying these strategies, you can potentially see improvements in your credit score within a few months. However, long-term improvements will still require patience and financial discipline.
All right, guys, welcome back to The Well. This is my research on being able to repair your own credit. Being able to repair your own credit. So, about 2 years ago, I got my credit score up to, I think it was 729. I think it was 729, based off of TransUnion. Through Credit Karma, TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax. Now my TransUnion was 696 or 97, something like that. So anyway, I really put the work in. I put the time in, and I put a lot of money in. And so what I'm trying to do with this podcast is to prevent you, our listeners, from being not scammed, but uneducated on using these credit repair companies. Now, I'm not going to name the company that I used. However, the company that I used, being ignorant to how to repair my credit. And number two, the title of this podcast is Don't Be Lazy, Fix Your Own Credit, Save Money. Right? I was paying this company $99 a month for 1 year. Listen, that's $1,200 plus. Okay? And you get one phone call, one or two phone calls a month. You have limited access to their website to really track your information. And again, if you're ignorant to how to pay attention to your credit, what happens is you don't know if the information that they're putting out there are true or not. So what they did was, based off of what my lawyer said I should never have used any credit company. They could have drafted me a letter and sent it out to all of my creditors, which my lawyers ended up doing after paying 1 year. I'm thinking my credit score should be 900 by now, if that's a thing. And so, needless to say, what they did was dispute. They disputed a lot of the things that I could have done on my own. You know, just simple things that I could have did on my own. Simple as sending an email. I could have sent 12 emails for what they did. Also, I found out that Credit Karma also will dispute. They give you free disputes. I think it's one every 6 months or something like that. Excuse me. It might be less than that. But I'm like, okay, I can dispute this through Credit Karma. I can dispute this through Experian. I can dispute this through Equifax. I can dispute things on my own, but we have to get out of being lazy of doing it because of fear of it not working. Nothing is guaranteed to work once you start. The thing is, you have to start to find out if it works or if it doesn't work. And be okay knowing whether it's something that the outcome that you want or the outcome in a direction that can be a positive return. So I wanted to bring this to my podcast, talking about don't be lazy, right? Don't be lazy. Do your own work. Work your own credit. Check your credit. You have to be able to check it. You can get a free account with Credit Karma, which I love, Intuit Books. And so I love Credit Karma. And they also show you what you're eligible for as far as buying a car. They show you what you're eligible for as far as if you're trying to build a credit and get a small credit line, or get a credit line where you can make payments and build your credit that way so that they can see your history of being a person that pays back or that's willing to sow into your growth from a credit standpoint, right? From a financial standpoint. So these days it's really, really hard to find a place to live. It's hard to pretty much purchase a car. See, and we'll talk about that on a different podcast. I could elaborate a little bit on these car buying programs that tell you that you can purchase a car on credit. With a low credit score, $499. Y'all heard that? I know I hear it on these little, okay, I can't say the names of the companies, on the radio stations in Washington, D.C. You know, you got a credit score that's low? Well, we'll take you. Come on down. They'll tell you $888 down. They'll tell you $400 down. They'll tell you $900 down. And before you leave the parking lot, you already gave them your whole income tax check. Excuse me. Don't fall for the okadoke. Do the work. Take your time. If it's too much and you feel like it's too time consuming, it's not. Trust me, it's really not. It's as simple as online, listen, make it equivalent to this. The way you scroll through your social media, you could be scrolling through your credit report, finding your credit report. You can get companies that you apply through your credit report, for your credit report with, and then give you consumer report for applying with them once you've been denied. So, and then too, when you apply for apartments and rental anything, and you get declined, ask them for a copy of your report. You allow one free consumer report as to why you were declined your credit due to your credit. Now listen. A lot of these companies say they do it, but they don't. They send you this brief, very brief 2-paragraph, if that, stating, well, you weren't approved due to unforeseen measures. What the hell is the unforeseen measure? Give me details. What did you see that's stopping me? So I've been doing my research on what rental properties look for, what creditors look for, people that you want to, well, let me go back. Let me calm down. The people that you're trying to rent, even as far as renting cars, renting properties, trying to build credit through different things, find out what their requirements are. So that's what I did. I went online, and so I've been digging. I went online to find out what it is that creditors actually look for. And so I'm just determined that we got to get free. We got to get free because as long as we stay caught in a whirlwind of what our credit is, where our score, understanding what these numbers mean, why they mean what they mean. Why is it important to understand, what our credit score is and how it's impacted our livelihood, right? And so I really think it's important that we get educated. That's why I'm doing this podcast. We have to get educated. We have to understand what it is that's preventing us from moving from here to there. Here's something I'm pulling up now. FICO, originally Fair, it's called the Fair Isaac and Company. Let's see what this would tell us about what FICO is. And let's get the history on why it's important to our livelihood. All right, so I'm going to play this through my Read Aloud AI, which I just love so much. And that's by my naturalreader.com. So if you get a chance, download naturalreader.com. Trust me, it will bless your life. So let's listen and see what FICO is all about. Let's get the history of FICO.
It was founded in 1956 as Fair Isaac and Company by engineer William R. Bell Fair and mathematician Earl Judson Isaac. The two met while working at the Stanford Research Institute in Menlo Park, California, selling its first credit scoring system 2 years after the company's creation. FICO pitched its system to 50 American lenders. FICO went public in July 1987 and is traded on the New York Stock Exchange. The company debuted its first general-purpose FICO score in 1989. FICO scores are based on credit reports and base FICO scores range from 300 to 850, while industry-specific scores range from 250 to 900. Lenders use the scores to gauge a potential borrower's creditworthiness. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac first began using FICO scores to help determine which American consumers qualify for mortgages bought and sold by the companies in 1995.
Listen, so now we have a little bit of history on how our credit scores are being used, right? So what we definitely want to do is get educated educated. Get educated. Find out where you are. Don't be afraid of it. Don't be afraid of not matching up to everybody else. Don't be afraid of not having a high credit score. Listen. Can I be transparent? Listen. I dated this guy for a whole year, right? A whole year. He said after months of dating, we were in church together. Excuse me, and we dated, right? And then he said by this time next year, we're gonna be my wife. I was like, what? Okay. He was pretty well off. He owned a lot of businesses in Virginia. He owned a lot of properties, and I kind of felt like I helped him boost his property, his businesses by bringing creative ideas and encouraging him to get different things fixed and doing one site at a time, right? See, me, as a girlfriend, I'm an asset, right? Matter of fact, I'm a benefit and an asset. And sometimes that's my default, right? Got his businesses up and pumping and rolling and grand opening. Some of his business he was getting ready to sell. And I'm like, you know what, you can fix that. Just hire some guys, get some interns to run your business. Okay, I ain't gonna tell my secrets, right? So I did this. Businesses began to go beyond where he was. Because you know how we do. We get our businesses, we get comfortable in the place where we are. I just took him to a whole nother level. Within that year's time, he decided, I'm going to put a ring on your hand. Put a ring on my finger. Very, 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 very beautiful ring, okay? I didn't even feel deserving of it. However, we relocated. He was still attached to Virginia. And I was relocating back to the city, which I felt like the Lord was leading me to do. And this was back in 20 years, 30 years, 25, 30 years now. Anywho, here we are. I've relocated, and he's driving back and forth, giving me these lavish cars to drive and all this other stuff. I think that was to keep me connected to him because, you know, when you go back to the city, it's fair game, honey. Everybody looking good. And so he comes back and we get ready to buy this house. Right before we get married, we're in the process of looking for properties and buying a house. And with that being said, we're talking about credit right now. We're talking about don't be lazy, do the work, right? They did a credit check in the process of us buying a house because he said, I want your name on everything. And we were sitting I would never forget this eerie feeling. We were sitting at the table, at the lender's table, and they said, how about you just put your name on the property, talking about him, because her credit is messed up. Basically messed up. They went through the details of it, and I didn't understand it. I was ignorant. I didn't know. And so, shortly after that joker was like, I'm out. You could have, after disappearing for months, he said, you could have told me that that your credit was messed up. I could have just bought the property myself. I said, I don't understand the credit thing. I never knew. I didn't know. My mother never taught us that. There's a lot of stuff my mother didn't teach us, right? I didn't know credit was a thing. I just knew people had credit cards, but I didn't understand the process of it. Oh, but I do now. Listen. So we took, in the process, we got this lease to own by property, and I think he did that intentionally because his lawyer and his name was on it. And I said, well, what do I have to do to fix my credit? He was like, nah, I ain't messing with you because if people don't have good credit, they ain't honest people. I said, what? So this is what I'm trying to say to you guys. Don't be moved by somebody else's response to your ignorance. If they're not willing to teach you and help you and show you and help you get to clarity and understanding, if a credit score make a joker walk away from you, goodbye. Because my thing is this. He could have held me bound and captive to just growing his business and growing his business and growing his business and left me ignorant to prosper in my own life. So I thank God that he did leave. Farewell, buddy. Farewell. So, make a long story short, don't be fearful of learning about your credit. Don't be fearful of what you don't know or what you don't understand. Ask questions. We live in a time now where you can get information. You can Google, Wikipedia, what's the other little thing? You can look up all kinds of stuff and find out where you are. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, how do I want to move forward with this? I hope that this podcast has helped you in some way, form, or fashion. I hope that this podcast has made you open your eyes and say, you know what, I don't want to be ignorant any longer to my credit. I want to really do something to move forward. I'm getting ready to just put on some little soft music. Here's a little commercial from Pixel, and then we're going to go into our song, and then we're going to get up out of here. Let me just say that. Let's see. I think we're going to go right about now. All right, so we're going to get out of here. Take control of your credit. Don't be lazy. Win the game for yourself. You. Do it for you.